But probably one of the most blasphemous teachings in Judaism is the belief that Jesus Christ is currently in hell, burning in his own excrement.
Whoa. If that's true, I am converting to Christianity this second. Let's see.
Yes, you heard right. Gittim 46-47 in the Talmud
56 and
states that a man by
was
the name of
quoted.
Onkelos, who wanted to convert to Judaism, invokes three evil spirits, one of which is Jesus. He asked Jesus, what happens to the man who opposes the Jews? You know, the way Jesus did. To which Jesus replies that he goes to hell to burn in his own excrement for all of eternity.
Whoa. That's terrible. Terrible. But is that what it says? Yes. It does talk about Onkelos. Now, Onkelos, you should know, at the time, was a Christian. He was not a Jew. He was thinking about converting to Judaism. So we have a perspective of someone who is a Christian, who is thinking about converting to Judaism. Okay? He had this in a dream. And he brings up Titus, who's the one who sacked Jerusalem, and he brings up Balaam, the one who made the Israelites sin in the wilderness, and he brings up Jesus of Nazareth. Now, this could be the disciple of Yeshua ben Prachya, but Onkelos did live after the sacking of the temple. So therefore, maybe it could also be possibly the same Jesus of Nazareth that's in the New Testament. Let's assume that it is the same Jesus of Nazareth as in the New Testament, not the disciple that we already learned about of Yeshua ben Prachya, who had a problem, who was a different Jesus. So also Onkelos, so Onkelos went ahead and brought up Yeshu Hanoitri through necromancy. Again, this is in his dream. Amrle, so Onkelos said to him, Man chashe bahu alma, who is a very, very significant nation in the world. So Amrle, so Jesus said, Yisrael. It's the Yisrael. Mahu la'ad boike bahu. Should I attach myself to them? Amrle says to him, Toivasam droish, seek their goodness. Ra'asam loitidroif, do not seek ill upon them. Call hanageya, anyone who touches behen, to them, ki'ilu nageya bibvas enai. Anyone who tries to touch them and harm them is like he pokes at his own eye. So Onkelos said to him, Amrle, dine itahu gavra b'mai. What is the punishment for someone who tries to harm them? Amrle, he says to him, that person is going to boil an excrement. Not Jesus. Jesus didn't say, I am boiling an excrement. Jesus says anyone who tries to harm them is going to boil an excrement. Why? Because the rabbi said, Kol hamagliya divrei rabbi, anyone who upsets the words of the sages, nidoim b'tzaya rechachas, should go ahead and boil an excrement. Now, that sounds very harsh, but again, Jesus didn't say, I am boiling an excrement. Now, you're going to say, okay, maybe Jesus is the one who tried to harm the sages, but he didn't. There's no proof whatsoever in the New Testament that Jesus tried to harm the sages. Sure, he disagreed with the Sadducees and disagreed with the Pharisees, but he didn't uproot them. As a matter of fact, in Matthew, many times he says that you have to follow the Torah. So therefore, he wasn't really going against the sages. So the Talmud in Eruvin 21b actually corrects this entire thing and says, what does it mean that burning the excrement? It comes from a verse. It says, Lahag harbe yigas basar. After much studying is weariness of flesh. In other words, a person who studies a lot, it could tire the person out. What do they say? So if Ula said, this teaches that whoever malig, lahag, it could also be used like malig. He's trying to play in words. Anyone who tries to mock learning Torah, so then he boils an excrement. But then the Talmud says, how is it possible? Maskevle Rav. Rav contradicted him and corrected him and said, Ki kosev la'ag. Does it say la'ag? It says lahag. Not with an ayin, but with a hey. Lahag, not la'ag, siv, ella. Kol hahoige, bahen toye tam basar. So then his flesh will be weary. So he wanted to say anyone who makes fun of the sages, so then it's a play on words that his flesh will fall out. It's like excrement, right? And therefore you could say like excrement, he'll be an excrement, because basically it's euphemism for going to the bathroom. However, it's corrected and said it's not la'ag, it's lahag, and therefore it means weariness, and it's not a euphemism. So what does it really mean? It means that he's going to be weary and he needs to have the taste of meat to build himself back up. He's literally going to be tired out. So therefore, it does not say that he's burning an excrement. And even if it would say that Jesus is the one that is burning an excrement, again, it's not, because this Talmud corrects it and says it's not burning an excrement. It just means he's tired. And of course, now this guy is going to finish up with a beautiful anti-Semitic notion.
It's no wonder Jesus said, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan.
So there we go. So the Talmud says nothing bad about Jesus, but the New Testament rips Jews. And there you have it. Any questions, let me know.